Most of the time, I really don't look at my hands unless I'm washing them. Kind of do like this, right? Do you not wash your hands? You look at them, right? Yeah, every time you wash your hands, you look at them. When you think about it, your hands can do some very amazing things. 8 fingers, right? All in harmony, a couple of thumbs. Difficult to pick something up without a thumb, right? Piece of paper. You could do this, of course, but most things require that thumb. Pretty amazing when you stop and think about it. It might be good to pick up a hammer. Might be good to even pick up a little tiny tweezer. May be able to work in a yard, work in a kitchen, work in a garden. When working on a laptop, it still kind of amazes me. I learned in high school, to not look at your fingers, right? I still don't look at my fingers. I still remember that, my typing teacher, man. Remember David? Bam. So I still don't look at my fingers, but sometimes I got to look down and say, it's pretty amazing when you think about it. Your fingers are kind of going like that and typing away on that keyboard. Miraculous indeed. Marvelously engineered by our Creator God. It was God's hands, in his very own hands, that he once scooped up some dust. Dust he had created in the garden and shaped it into his own image. God breathed his own breath into it, his own spirit, into the man formed from the dust of the ground. And the first man, Adam, became a living, breathing being. I wonder what Adam first saw when he looked at his hands. What Adam first saw when he first opened his eyes. His first words was the first thing that maybe he grabbed onto. We're not told that in God's word, but you got to kind of scratch your head and say, wow, yeah, that's been pretty much amazing for him. When God inspires Moses to give us the creation account, God doesn't tell us how long it was before the next scene in God's garden. And I always hope and pray that it was a long time. But then came the fall for Adam and for his wife Eve. That word fall is very descriptive and accurate as well. But that is exactly what happened to them. As much as Adam would have liked to blame someone else, he blames the snake first, got to blame his wife, he even has the nerve to blame God. The woman, which you gave to be with me, she gave me the fruit from the tree, and I ate. As much as he would like to blame anyone else, he was the one who fell away. He took that fruit. He wrapped his hands tightly around it. He put his lips to it, put his teeth into it, and he ate it. Adam disobeyed God. Adam turned his back upon God. The next scene, though, we find out that it wasn't God who turned his back on Adam. No. In fact, that next scene shows God searching for them, doesn't he? Yes, going through the garden. He's walking in the cool of the day, walking through the garden looking for him. And he found them. He found them hidden in their shame. No one is to blame except for Adam. It was by his hand, by his own hand, wrapped around that forbidden fruit, that he received what he deserved. Ultimately, death. After the incident with the fruit, after his banishment from the garden and his fall away from God, he most certainly saw dirt on his hands. God says, "Cursed is the ground because of you." On that fateful day, God continues, "In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life." Dirt caked on his hands from digging in the dust is what he would see through his lifetime. Trying desperately to eke out a living from the earth when only thistles and bramble came forth in labor, Adam was accustomed to digging in the dirt. But the real dirt laid even deeper still. God says, "Dust you are," God reminded Adam that day, "and to dust you shall return." Even Adam couldn't wash that dirt away, the dirt from the fields. He would never get to the bottom of that dirt, never be able to clean that dirt off of his hands. When you look at your hands, think about them being dirty for a moment. Someday, those hands of yours, these very hands of mine, along with everything else that is us, will yield again to the dust. We are born in Adam's image. We too are dust, and to dust we shall return. But I also wonder if maybe Adam didn't see more than just dust when he gazed at his hands. Because you see, when God molded Adam from the clay, and I know enough about sculpturing and clay to understand the fact that Adam must have been totally covered with God's fingerprints. Think about it. I wonder if maybe the final act of putting Adam together, God didn't maybe just press his almighty hand into the hand of Adam. I wonder if Adam bore on his fingers the very fingerprints of God. Because if that's so, then hands with those same marks, now marked as well with prints from nails, would one day rise from the dust again. And those same hands would beckon Adam and Eve and all children of the dust to rise as well. Good news will follow, children of dust. Good news indeed. But for now, we consider the dust.